Okay, guys, this is Doug Jones in Southern California. We have a very special webinar today with Rick Walsh, who is one of the all-time leaders in the direct sales industry. He is the sales vice president for Freedom Equity Group, and he is the upline founder within the compensation structure for most of us here, and my personal sponsor and longtime friend. Rick is going to share some ideas about a media campaign and some details. He has a surprise guest with him that I think you'll be very impressed with. So, Rick, take it away.
Thanks so much, Doug. Really appreciate being able to talk to the organization today here. And I think everyone knows that Doug's team is the fastest growing organization in Freedom Equity Group, has built an unbelievable system there, and is going to be topping 1,000 agents here quite soon. And so what I'm going to talk about today, we got a couple things we're going to be training on. The first is what's known as the FEG Media Blitz. We're going to be talking about a program that it will produce quite a number of leads for individuals, but after I finish that, I'm going to let you know that everything I talk about on the leads is probably the least important part of the Media Blitz program. But the leads, actually I'm going to say no, they're better than leads. They're clients requesting to be closed. You see, the last time we ever had a no-brainer sale in direct sales in where Untold Millionaires was made was the mortgage refi boom, and that was quite simple. Clients stayed in their home with the same mortgage balance, the same bank. They just had a lower payment. It was a no-brainer. Everybody refied. When I say everybody, well, there were only 60 million that were qualified to refi. Most of them took advantage of it at least one or more times. Many millionaires were made as a result, and that lasted only a few years. We're going to talk about the insurance refi. Why? Because there's 149 million existing policies, and less than 1% of them have living benefits. The vast majority don't know who their agent was that sold them that policy. But here's the question. Why have so few policies been refied when it's such a no-brainer? Well, the answer quite simply is people just don't know about living benefits. But what if we were able, we being FEG, able to educate them by the thousands at one time, or by the tens of thousands at one time? Now, let me go a step further. How about hundreds of thousands at one time? But how? How could this be done? Well, quite simply, mass media. What if we had an article in major daily newspapers around the country about insurance you don't have to die to use? And what if we could have an 800 or a direct response number in there? Well, that's a great idea, but would anybody do that if they could? Of course they would. So how do you get major publications to publish an article about a product that you want and then put in a number or a contact way, and it's not an ad? Well, you got to have an insider in the media or publishing industry, and that's Hayden Cameron, CEO of Marketing CEO of Marketing Applications Inc. You see, Hayden came to the United States at the request of Rupert Murdoch because of his expertise in tying editorial direct response marketing or editorial content to direct response marketing. And Rupert was looking for somebody for expertise for his newly acquired $1 billion publishing empire known as American Media. And so he made Hayden the senior editor of 26 different publications and vice president of the parent company. As such, the relationships over decades that were built with broadcast and print media are just too many to count. And so with that, we believe we will be getting our articles in papers like the LA Times, the Atlanta Journal-Constitution. How about the Boston Globe, or possibly the Seattle Times? Maybe the Miami Herald is right for us, or the Dallas Morning News. Possible markets for our publication are just about endless. Could be any city in the United States, all over the United States, hundreds of other cities. And one of the things that we're going to do is then go for the online edition of each paper. Now, in each of these cities, what we want to do is we want to profile an agent in that city. That profile would then talk about that agent being the expert, the go-to person, being creating leads for that agent. But once again, it's going to spread a lot further than that, as you'll see in a moment. And then the possibility after or the day that the article is printed is, and branding that agent as the expert in the area, is then to contact the ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox affiliates for an interview with the noon news with that local anchor. Again, more publicity, creating that idea that when the tide rises, all the boats flow. Now, there's a one-time cost plus a revenue share in this program, as you see as it rolls out. We're only in beta test right now. The agent selected for the city, where the ad would run, will have those leads, and they would be presented for the noon news. No guarantees, of course, but they have a one-time cost of $1,500. And the leads generated come through a central 800 number and lead capture page, and the revenue is shared 50-50 between lead generation and the agent that closes the sale. But now here's where most of us start to come into the picture, and that is, how about national exposure? You see, once we have that base built up in the local media, that gives us the power to go to things like the Wall Street Journal and USA Today, where the leads coming in, now we're talking about millions of viewers on these types of publications, leads coming in there, having a whole new distribution to all of the agents here in the company. We could look at national magazines also, like Money Magazine. And so what I want to do is I want to turn it over to Hayden for a few minutes here to give you an idea of exactly who Hayden Cameron is and what his background is and what he sees as the big picture for this complete media campaign for Freedom Equity Group. Hayden, are you there?
Yes, Rick. Thank you for that. And good morning, everybody, wherever you are. I'm here in South Florida as a point of geographic reference, but as Rick was saying, I've been in the news business for almost 40 years. My accent is an Australian, and I did come to this country in 1974 with Rupert Murdoch when he bought the New York Post, and I was one of his early executive management, and I've been in publishing and media ever since. When I was introduced to the term by Rick a couple of months ago, living benefits, he asked me one day at lunch, what did I know about living benefits? And I said I'd never heard of it. And when he explained what living benefits are now in any form of life insurance, I looked at him and I said, how new is this? He said, well, it's relatively new. There are several companies in the insurance industry that are pushing it, but he said it's something that is going to change the face of the life insurance industry. And I came back to my office after that lunch, and I went to Google and Yahoo and some of the other research resources that I have access to. And any time I put in living benefits, there was almost nothing or very little about what living benefits offer American families today with whatever form of life insurance that they have. And I called Rick back and I said, look, this is really interesting. Tell me more. And he explained that some of the companies that Freedom Equity Group represents in the insurance industry will give the policyholder up to 16 different ways to be able to take their living benefits should they have that life event where they need the money for the cancer surgery or whatever that life event is, and that people now have a life insurance policy, which you all know about, which you can cash before you die. So I said, the first company that can get this living benefits branding into the consumer marketplace where the mass public is and educate them on the features and the benefits and obviously some of the results of living benefits is going to own a very big part of the insurance industry. So 2 weeks ago, I flew to Houston. I met with the two Rons, Petro and Bloom and Rick, and we spent a couple of hours going through the concept of what is the best for Freedom Equity Group to capitalize on being that front and center educator of living benefits, using all of my media resources to tell the story. And what I'm talking about is not advertising, it's editorial stories. And the two Rons said, we have good agents in most of the major metropolitan markets in this country, and if we can get publicity for these good agents in their market, branding them as an expert, not only on life insurance, but of the new living benefits, features and benefits, then there's a place where the reader of the newspaper or the viewer of the television noon news on the same day, hopefully, that the story will run, will be able to come with some of this information and be able to sit down with the agent or one of the agent's team members and be able to get a much closer sale based on the third-party credibility of the media. So as Rick said, we're into a 10-agent beta test right now. Some of the agents have already committed to want to own their city. And I'm in the process next week of interviewing each of the agents who are in the beta test, but the long-term view that will go on, and profile, for example, Wesley Hunt up in Oklahoma wants to own the city of Oklahoma. And as a working model for each of you to understand what the local story could be in the 3 Oklahoma area newspapers, it would go something just like this. This is the intro on the business page as a story. Wesley Hunt is on a mission in Oklahoma to educate families about the importance of free living benefits with their life insurance coverage. A living benefits rider converts whatever life insurance you buy into a value-added policy that can pay you a lump sum before you die, says Hunt, a life insurance expert and licensed agent. And then quoting him, as the new form of life insurance that can pay you before you die, living benefits are dramatically changing the value proposition for the entire insurance industry, says Hunt, a top educator in Oklahoma City for the Freedom Equity Group. Freedom Equity Group launched a national crusade for living benefits last year with Wesley Hunt leading the educational charge in the state of Oklahoma. And then I want to go to the 2 examples that we have today of policyholders who have already cashed living benefits. We have a gentleman in San Francisco. He was 48 years old 2 years ago. He bought a $150,000 term policy with a $500,000 universal life policy. And 8 months later, after just 7 payments of his premium, he was diagnosed with a very rare form of cancer. And when his agent discovered that and came back to him and said, well, let's look at your living benefits, he was given a check for $430,378 from his universal life policy and $129,000 from his term policy for a total benefit of $560,213. Now, obviously, that not only has paid all of his medical expenses, and he is today in remission. I've talked to him, and he's now got the funds to not have to go back to his dry cleaning business, and he's putting his daughter through college in San Francisco. He's one example that we want to have in each of the stories that we'll publish under the name of the local Freedom Equity Group agent who is going to become the expert in that area for explaining living benefits. We have a second gal up in West Kentucky who bought a $100,000 policy 3 years ago. She then came down with a form of breast cancer, and to cut a long story short, she was given a check of $89,000 by AGLA in terms of her living benefits. So in my interviews with each of the agents who choose to be a part of this editorial campaign, I want to get their understanding of living benefits, how they explain it in 60 seconds, and build those personal quotes into the news story that I'll then get positioned with the local daily newspaper, the local business publication. Here in the state of Florida, I have in my area the Palm Beach Post, the Fort Lauderdale Sun-Sentinel, and Florida Trend. And in each of the counties, we have a business weekly publication which are always looking to do positive reader interest type stories. And I see living benefits as a great public service in explaining to the marketplace that if you have a life policy now without living benefits, you need to call this number and learn about what you need to do to have living benefits that are included. And if you don't have life insurance, then call this number, and an agent will take you through the process of explaining what life insurance is and why your policy, whether it be term, whole life, index universal life, would include the living benefits rider. So I hope I'm explaining the news story. Living benefits is unknown to the marketplace, and we have the opportunity to take this editorial story, using local agents as the point of contact and reference to follow up, because the ultimate goal is, of course, to sell more life policies under the plan that Rick explained. So that's what we're doing, and of course there's a viral aspect to this. Each of the agents that are published will be able to take that reprint and post it on their website. They can email it to prospects or other agents out there that they're trying to talk about Freedom Equity to. Most of the daily newspapers in the country now have a digital online edition, and they'll be able to download the digital version of the same story that ran in the hard copy that drops on my driveway every morning, and they can use that in a viral aspect of sending the story off to potential prospects, potential clients. So the media value of a story that puts them as an expert on living benefits really has a very long afterlife. Rick, does that explain it?
It sure does, Hayden. Thanks so much. And you know what I want to do is I want to take it from here and explain exactly what is the benefit today to every single person on the line here. As Hayden was explaining the program, the initial of part of the program, of course, is, you know, maybe 300 or 400 after our first 10-city beta test, 300-400 cities where, yeah, an agent is profiled, but you realize that when the tide rises, all the boats float up. The publicity that we are going to have and the news in the news tab that we'll put on the website with all of these stories, etc., brings us to that national exposure in which the lead gen is opened up to everybody. But let's take a look at what is in it for all of us today. As I mentioned, we are in a beta test during January. 10 cities have been selected. Please don't call the company and say, well, save this city for me or that city for you, etc. We're not doing anything until after January to see the results in those 10 cities, so please don't do that. But let me tell you about what you heard so far. There are 3 aspects to this program, and the leads are the least important. Are you kidding me? Well, yeah, actually the leads are the least important. The publicity is the second best benefit, and that publicity is going to give all of us the credibility that we're looking for in showing our prospects and our clients exactly what we have to offer when we have that third-party, reputable sort of endorsement editorially. But you know what the biggest benefit is? It's the team-building aspect of this. I'll tell you, I was with Freedom Equity Group back in 2003 and 2004. We were using a methodology of helping people fund their retirement account, and we brought out a lead program. And you know what? I told them I was not interested in having any leads myself, but I was interested in building an agency based on the fact that we had the lead program. I rapidly went up to over $50,000 a month in overrides and never took a lead personally. And that's why I believe the team building aspect is the biggest benefit we're going to have, and it's available to everyone today for free. So what's the greatest need of a brand new agent? You might say, well, it's education, or it's getting the license, or there's many different things. But I know what the greatest need of a brand new agent is. It's the same greatest need of an experienced agent, and it's the same need that a medium-sized agency has, and it's, you know what, the same that the largest agency in the country absolutely needs, and that is the ability to be in front of more clients. And so let's take a look at the anatomy of normal leads. Now, this is the normal thinking process of every agent, every agency, even the largest one out there, and they get leads, and they're talking to a prospect that's not looking for insurance. Our lead program, the prospect's already looking for what you have because they're reading it in the newspaper, educating themselves, and giving us a call. You know, in a normal lead, the prospect's not educated on what the product offering is, but yet with us, the prospect will be educated somewhat before anyone gets to talk to them. Whether it's the local market where an individual is profiled in the paper, or national media where the lead is coming throughout the entire company. The prospect was interrupted by a mailing, email, phone call they didn't ask for. That's in a normal lead. That's what everyone's used to. But here the prospect was not interrupted, but willingly educated themselves. And you know what? In every other agency, you pay up front for each lead, whether it's good or not, closes or not. And here, your real cost is when the sale is made and you get paid with revenue share. It's a tough sale. With us, well, basically it's a no-brainer, just like refining the mortgage. There are limited numbers, but we can continue on and on and on. You imagine, you know, after this campaign is done, maybe we start looking at retirement or $1 million baby. There's so many ways to go with this. And so in insurance, it's important that we understand that we're not really paid to sell insurance. That's actually easy. The insurance company can sell insurance. Insurance companies and agencies put on new agents. Why? Well, to prospect. They want to get exposure to new potential clients. So let me pose a question to you. If this media campaign and lead program is not exciting to the agent or an agency that you expose it to or you talk to, nobody is going to be good enough to close that deal. They're not going to join your team or anybody's team. But if this media campaign and lead program is exciting to them, then nobody, including you, is bad enough to blow the deal. Do you see the point I'm trying to get across? You have something in your hands now that every agent and every agency in the United States would want to have. Do you realize how big a team you can build with that? It's called first mover advantage. And you know what? You have it. This was never, ever been done in the history of insurance, building businesses, etc. So what can happen? How can you expose this to other agents or other agencies? Well, we set up, many of you might have seen that 24-minute presentation, and you just saw the presentation I did, which was about 15 minutes. Well, we've got it up in video, PowerPoint with voiceover at www.insuranceagentdream.net. Now remember, that's .net. www.insuranceagentdream.net. And when you send people there, here we go, a life agent stream, pre-educated, interested prospects requesting to be contacted. And you click there, and the video is only 5 minutes and 36 seconds long. This is what you can use to prospect, and we also have a sizzle call up at 518-530-1514. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to, let's see if I could bring that up online here with us. Hang on a second. Hear me? Doug? Or Hayden,
yes,
can you hear me?
Yes, I can. I can.
Good.
Hello, Rick Walsh here, insurance agent and former $1 Million Roundtable member, with a quick message on how you could be in front of more qualified leads. And I'll get right to the point. We can put you in front of more qualified leads. Leads that call us. We don't call them. Leads that have already educated themselves on what you have to offer by the time you talk to them. They already want what you have to offer. Leads that you don't pay for unless you sell them. Leads that are read about your product in a major newspaper article. Newspapers like the LA Times or Miami Herald, maybe the Wall Street Journal or USA Today. Articles, not advertisements. And they call you and want what you have to offer. The biggest upside in insurance sales for 2014 is life insurance you don't have to die to use. I'm talking about living benefits. And we're on a crusade to change the 149 million life insurance policies from those with no living benefits to those with living benefits. That's right. There are 149 million existing life policies in the U.S., and only 1% have living benefits. And we plan to refi them all into living benefits. It's a no-brainer. Same death benefit, same cost. One, you have to die to use. The other, you don't have to die to use. Yet, why have so few people refied into living benefits? Simple. They just don't know about it. So we are educating them tens of thousands at a time with newspaper articles, not ads, articles about living benefits in every major newspaper in the U.S., such as the LA Times, Miami Herald, the Dallas Morning News, and then nationals like USA Today, Wall Street Journal. These articles will have a direct response 800 number in them and lead capture page noted, so we collect all of the pertinent info. Those interested in what the article is about, living benefits, leave their name, phone number, etc. Then we're going to profile certain of our agents on the new news of ABC, NBC, CBS, and Fox affiliates in all of those cities and capture those leads also. Now, you have to be asking, how do you get major publications and broadcast media to publish such an article and have direct response come back to us to follow up? Simple. We teamed up with the best inside media company possible and have teamed up with App Marketing Inc. and its CEO, who was brought to the U.S. from Australia by Rupert Murdoch to lend his expertise in Murdoch's newly acquired billion-dollar media powerhouse, American Media. They made him senior editor of 26 major publications and VP of the parent company. In this capacity, over decades, he created the inroads and relationships with an extremely large number of the best in print and broadcast media management and ownership, with the goal of melding the story that needs to be told with the individual and company that can get it told editorially to millions of Americans this year in over 100 major newspapers and network-affiliated stations. We will have the word out, and you can have the leads. For more information, you need to get back with the person who gave you this number and view our video that explains this program in detail. Thanks for joining us.
So that sizzle call is 3.5 minutes long. Now, what you don't want to do, you don't want to just spread it out and not have a way of people talking to your first choice. Like any meeting, you don't tell someone to meet you at the meeting, you bring them to the meeting. Here, you three-way the possible agent you know into it, and then make sure you have the widest distribution possible. Make sure your contact info goes with this. So here's some ideas you might think of. You might want to call every insurance agent you know, including the guy you buy your homeowners and auto insurance from, because I guarantee you he's struggling. And to add life and our program would definitely be advantageous. Internet searches for insurance agents. You know, I know a lot of people on the line here are going to say, oh, I want Atlanta, I want Atlanta, I hope it's not gone, and you're focusing on the dimes, and you're walking over the dollars to get to it. I'm telling you that right now the biggest advantage you have is the ability to search out other experienced agents. And you can Google agents in your town or any town. You know what? I'll bet you that Crossroads, Idaho is not a town yet that anybody has tried to get. But I'll bet you there's some insurance agents there that would like some local publication to show them as the expert in that town. Why don't you just Google the town and Google insurance agents in that town, call them up, let them know what we're doing. You now have the Sizzle Call and the InsuranceAgentDream.net website. How about Craigslist for agents? What I'm trying to tell you is that every agent is going to learn about this. And they're going to decide on the merits of the program and where they are in their life, not who contacted them. Who contacted them is just going to be the person that benefits from it. If they're excited about the program enough, nobody's bad enough to blow the deal, and you now have first mover advantage. And there are email lists of agents. By the way, I can get emails into 100,000 existing agents for $1,000. So that exists. There are 500,000 agents in the United States. So here's what I want you to remember. The best benefit of this media campaign right now is the value to use it as a recruiting tool. Every insurance agent and agency will hear about this sooner or later, and probably it's going to be sooner. So now is the time to take action, because a good plan violently executed today is better than the perfect plan next week. That's General George Patton. So with that, Doug, I want to turn it back over to you.
Okay, Rick, I'm here. Do I have controls now?
I'm going to turn it over to you.
Okay, doke.
Okay, you do now.
Okay, so you're seeing my screen now with the S-curve on it?
Sure do.
Okay, great. So guys, I am crazy excited about this because I have known since I got into this that like any product that goes from inception to full acceptance in the marketplace, we will go through an S-curve. And that S-curve is defined by human nature, not by the nature of the product or service. So whether it's soft drinks or tennis shoes or financial services, human nature dictates that all markets go through this kind of a process. The first part of it is slow growth, because the early adapters are people who think for themselves, and there's not all that many of us. So that will take any good idea up to about 15 to 18% of market, but then you need a catalytic event to get into the early majority where the neck of the S is formed, when everybody just pours in at once and switches to that product or that service. And the reason that there's what's called a gap between the early adapters and the early majority is because by definition, the early majority are people who want to do what everybody else is doing. Most people are like that. They need social validation for their decisions. And so that's why every product that becomes commonly accepted in the marketplace goes through the exact same S-curve. It's taught in every business school in the world. And the goal, of course, is to get to that neck of the S, get your product or service to the neck of the S. I've known for a long time that this would happen because it just makes sense, as I was explaining when I introduced Rick. But what's going to happen now is it's going to happen sooner than I expected because of the massive national publicity and exposure that we're going to have. And that is, as Rick says, going to lift every single boat in the company that is paying attention and working. That does not change one thing about our system. It's important to understand that this is not different than what we're doing. It's simply a way to build your net faster and to do more business per agent, so that whatever you build will become more profitable. So the team building system is exactly the same as it's always been. First base is connect and discovery. And on that connect and discovery piece, it all begins with talking to somebody, right? We get leads, as you know, from the warm market, the local market, the national market. This is going to make it much, much easier to do that. And the reason why is because there's some things we can do that leverage the credibility of major media. In the warm market, we can send email links, we can use social media, we can do personalized videos that comment on these articles. You can do a personal blog. We are going to have a community blog for Team Synergy that you can actually direct people to a professional-looking and professional articles on a blog, and then those leads will be unique to you, so that you'll be able to have them opt in to get more information, that sort of thing. So that's coming soon. We have local marketing, which is, send emails. Rick said you can find all the agents in your local market, send them an email, but you must follow with a phone call if you want any significant results. Only 2% of email ever gets opened. Networking groups, you can create some handouts with copies of these articles to hand out at networking groups with your contact information on it. Local speaking engagements. Guys, every single service club in your market area is hungry for some interesting content for their lunch meetings. become the local speaker, make the tour, and get the word out that way. Seminars in the local area. A lot of senior centers will let you do seminars for free or for very little cost, and they'll even promote them for you. Local video SEO, huge, guys. It is really, really easy to get a video optimized locally, and as Rick knows, 3 years ago, I spent an entire year with a company that did exactly that, helped local businesses get found by local customers. We can optimize every agent for their local market with video, and in some cases it only takes a couple hours to get on the first page of Google for a local search. So if somebody were sitting in, say, Tustin, California, where I am, if I had an optimized video for Tustin, even though they only type in living benefits, Google knows they're in Tustin, and it will pull up my video before it will pull up one that's nationally optimized for SEO. National marketing is huge with anything where you have content. Article marketing puts permanent real estate on the internet for you. Community blog, as I mentioned, is coming soon. Targeted banner ads. Banner ads are dirt cheap. So we can target banner ads and put them on the very publications that are publishing these articles. Social media ads, you can target social media ads, guys, right down to your zip code. And then retargeting. Retargeting is huge. Anybody here ever been followed around the internet by banner ads because you went to a website and everywhere you go the banner ads are for that website? That's retargeting, and it is dirt cheap, and it's very effective. So a lot of things that we've got in the pipeline that we're going to be doing to leverage this for everybody, not just for the people that choose to be the featured guy in any given or gal in any given community. So this is a huge opportunity for everybody. The system is the same. That's what you have to understand. This does not change a thing. It's just a very exciting curiosity hook for leading candidates to the intro video. This is all coming in the future, but as Rick said, you can take advantage of this right now to build your net. And what do I mean by your net? Guys, when this thing goes vertical, when I was in the mortgage industry and it was going nuts, I would be in a grocery store. People would come up to me, this happened more than once, and say, Doug, you do mortgages, don't you? Can you do mine? Really? I mean, that'll happen when it goes crazy like that. So what you want to do when that happens, of course, is you want to be fishing with a trawler with miles and miles and miles of net that you're dragging behind your trawler. You do not want to be standing on the shore with a fishing pole. So right now is the time to build your network, and as Rick said, this is the perfect hook for the perfect candidate for your agency, which is an insurance agent or an insurance agency. And so that website that Rick gave you, www.insuranceagentdream.net, not .com, but .net, has the 5-minute teaser video with no links to anything. You can use that generically in anything you're doing, and there's a 5-minute video there that will help them understand the value of this media campaign we're launching. But the next steps, guys, are the same. Don't deviate from the system. The system is first basis, connect, and discovery. All we're doing is using this curiosity hook to bring highly qualified candidates, which is the insurance agents and agencies, into the system. The next step is still the intro video, immediate follow-up call, same 2 questions, and then live demo, 1, 2, 3 to VP, and so forth. So this does not change at all. So the fast track to VP is always, what you want to do with somebody after they get on board. That obviously is the fastest way to the top commission split. As you should know, we do have 2 new ways to get to the VP level through either personal production or team building that are pretty simple, but the fastest is still the fast track, so that's always the best. And it is a bunch of small, easy steps, because a fast start is always the easiest possible start. And you know the steps. It's, step 1 is become a qualified associate, and ideally win the Sprint Award by doing that within 10 days. Step 2 is the Fast Start Award. Step 3 is the Fast Track VP. And guys, it's important for you, if you're new, to win these. If you're in Team Synergy, we just restarted the clock on all of this stuff on January 2nd, so your clock is ticking, but you can requalify if you missed it before for any of these levels. So just make sure you know what that's about. But once you do the 1, 2, 3 to VP and you're a VP, then what? Well, then what, guys, is President's Club. And we're going to be introducing President's Club to Team Synergy on the 11th of January. President's Club is a plan to focus, because the challenge in our lives is we are all overbooked, overstressed, overcommitted, and we're scattered. So President's Club is simply a plan to focus, so that, if you don't have a plan, you're planning to fail, right? So a lot of people don't even know how to write a plan, so the President's Club is a plan that is written for you. It is a simple plan to take you from 0 to freedom in 12 to 48 months. And freedom obviously depends on you. I mean, your level of freedom might be different than mine, but It's all about winning this war on focus and taking effective action. So the business here is a marathon, but of course it begins with a sprint. In the first 10 days, you want to become a qualified associate. So the club benefits and perks are, first of all, it's not listed on this list here, but the most important reason to be in President's Club, guys, is because it identifies you as somebody who's serious. You know, if you're not going to be in President's Club, then you're not going to build a business, because you got to sometime do that. There's nothing time limited about it other than sprint qualifiers are grandfathered into President's Club. But other than that, it's just about you know, building a business that gets to a point where you've got two criteria that are met that I'll come to in a minute. But once you're in President's Club, we have special recognition for people in President's Club. You'll have a lapel pin that looks like this down here in the lower right. You will have a special shirt. The color of that shirt will designate your level of achievement within President's Club. Special seating at events around the country, and of course national conventions. This is going to be company-wide. Invitation-only club meetings and training, because, guys, for people that are serious, the training needs to be at a higher level than for people who are just getting started, right? And so we'll have different levels of training for different you know, levels of commitment. We'll have special coaching from top leaders and special calls with the chairman and CEO that will be starting probably in about a week or so. And here's why we're doing this. Here's what it takes to have an explosion. You know, this concept of living benefits, and of life insurance that you don't have to die to use, and of investment-grade insurance as a portfolio asset, not as an expense, this is going to sweep the country with or without any one of us. So what we want to do is create this plan so that we can implement the actions needed and focus on the results that are required in order to get to where you want. But here's what it takes from you. It takes a burning desire for change. That is one of the necessary conditions for creating anything special. And you have to have a surge in your attitude and vision, because you're the leader. If you're brand new today, you are the leader of your future group. And guys, you will not be a leader until you start becoming a leader first. In other words, you will not have anybody to lead until you become a leader. So if you don't feel like you're a leader, change your mind. If you go to our team blog, there's a great section called Expand Your Thinking or Expand Your Possibilities or something. Read the book that's there. It's downloadable. It's free. But you need to change your mind about you if you don't think that you're a leader right now today, because you are. You need to have big goals. They need to be written in a specific plan, and that's what the President's Club gives you here. Then you want to have a mastermind alliance with key leaders. You want to find like-minded people who are at about the same level as you and create a buddy system so that you have somebody to talk to and build teams within both within your personal team and also cross-line with other teams where you have friends that are about the same level. And then the most important thing is make a bold move. Take daring action to get this thing going. And the daring action you can take right now is to use these tools that we just gave you to call insurance agents, to contact insurance agents, because they are hungry, they're starving, they're running out of business. We have the solution. The President's Club is a plan to focus. It requires first becoming a qualified associate. And a qualified associate is very, very simple. It's totally under your control. You simply have to submit your licensing paperwork. That means either sign up for the pre-license education if you're not yet licensed, and if you are licensed, simply submit your appointment paperwork to 2 of our carriers. Meet the spouse. That is critically important. The spouse does not, of course, need to be involved in the business, but they do need to be supportive. Otherwise, it's a deal killer. So the spouse has to watch the intro video, jot down their questions, and meet the sponsor on the phone. Number 3 is complete the personal financial strategy. It's incredibly important that you become a product of the product. If you don't have a belief level, before you even start this, it says that you want these products, then you need to spend some time understanding what we have here. Because who in the world would not want 700% more value for the same premium dollar? And that's exactly what living benefits is. So if you don't know that and you don't understand why that's true, then do some research so that your belief level is where it needs to be. Because if you don't think this is really important for your family, you will not succeed here. Number 4 is a potential partner list. This is not a friends and family list. That's what I call a notification list. You want to let everybody that you know about living benefits, right? There's this new modern kind of life insurance you don't have to die to use, because how would you feel if they had a heart attack, stroke, or cancer and you had not told them? You've got to tell them. But the potential partner list is your SEAL team. You don't want to recruit an army here. You want to recruit a few people and work with them and build a business relationship and a business partnership. So if you're only going to recruit a few people to do that, maybe you'll end up working with 5 or 10. You want to be selective about who's on that list. So this is your potential partner list. This is potential business partners. So it doesn't have to be your best friends. It can be people you know casually. It can be people you don't even know but know of. But you need to have at least 25, but winners never make their minimums their maximums, so you want to have at least 100 in my mind. And then those 4 steps will get you ready to do business. But then number 5 is simply engaging. Get 3 people who have been on the intro video or 6 or above on the scale of 1 to 10 question and get onto a live demo. When all 5 of those steps are complete, which takes a maximum of about 7 hours, then you are a qualified associate. There's no time limit on becoming a qualified associate, but if you do it in the first 10 days, it's only 7 hours worth of work, then you get a promotion to 50% in the comp plan from the 40% that everybody's starting at now. So that is a big deal. It's a 20% raise just for doing what you need to do. So get it done in 10 days. For everybody in Team Synergy, your clock restarted on that on the 2nd, and so you have until the 11th to get that done. And on the 11th is when we actually launch President's Club. So anybody who is a qualified associate on January 10th at midnight is going to be grandfathered into President's Club when we launch on the 11th. So what is President's Club? It's recognition based on new qualified associates in your team and new commissionable premiums submitted, not issued and paid like for promotions. Promotions require issued and paid. This is recognition that requires just submitted premium for your entire team, and it's a 1-month period. And next month you get to start over and go for it again. So if you miss it by a little bit 1 month, no problem. You got a few more people on board to help you do it next month. The second thing about President's Club is it's a specific set of goals that create this pathway to freedom that we talk about. And 3 is the whole focus of President's Club is you grow in President's Club by helping others on your team grow in President's Club. So it's all about working together as a team. So the 2 criteria that you have to meet are, and you have to meet both of these to get a promotion within President's Club, is the number of new qualified associates in your team. And to clarify, if somebody joins your team in December, but they didn't complete the 5 steps in December, but they do complete them in January or February or March or whenever they complete them, when they complete those 5 tasks, they become a qualified associate. There's no time limit on becoming a qualified associate. If they do it in 10 days, just to reiterate, then they win the Sprint Award, but no matter when they do it, if they get those 5 tasks done, they're a qualified associate. They count as a new QA in your team in the month in which they finish those 5 tasks. So somebody could have started last June and become a qualified associate in January. And I would highly recommend you call those who started in June that are not yet QAs and help them get that done before we launch President's Club. And this is a 1-month period. It also, you have to have a volume requirement because that's what we get paid for, guys. We get paid for volume. So this is just submitted volume because we want the recognition to be as close to the behavior as possible to reinforce it. But new commissionable premium, this is annual commissionable premium submitted by your team in a 1-month period is the other criteria. The levels begin at 5, so the first shirt qualification is a green shirt that you get at 5 when you have 5 QAs and $11,250 of new commissionable premium submitted in a 1-month period. When you have 10 new QAs join your team in a 1-month period and $22,500 in that same month, then you win the white shirt. 15 is $33,750, that's a light blue shirt, and so forth. So obviously anybody could do 5 and $11,250 by themselves, but you aren't going to do 50 or 75 or 100 by yourself. So the way you grow in the levels here is to help people on your team get their shirts. So if you want to be a light blue shirt at the national convention, that means 15 new QAs, not bodies joining your team, but qualified associates completing those 5 tasks, and $33,750 of submitted volume. Both of those events happening in a single month. If you want to have that happen, the easiest way to do that is to help 5 people on your team become green shirts. And so it's all about helping people get to that next level in President's Club, and that's what pushes you up your own President's Club growth path. The estimated income, I ran a spreadsheet analysis on this because as volume occurs in your group deeper and deeper in VP generations, you get paid a little bit less on it. So as your volume goes up, more and more of that, of course, will be in the downline VP generations. So it starts off with, and on these assumptions, I'm assuming that you're going to do at least 4 cases personally every month. If you're a VP, you need to be doing 4 cases personally every month. So that assumption's built in here. But if you do that, then this is pretty close to what will happen. In December, I ran this against my actual numbers. I would have qualified for a dark blue shirt in December, and I had like 24.6% spread on all the volume. So it's pretty darn accurate. So this will be available in the Dropbox, this document, so that you can kind of see, based on your income goals, what you need to achieve within President's Club. And you begin to set your plans to do that. So the President's Club launch details, as I said, we're launching January 11th in Team Synergy. Anybody who is a qualified associate by the time we launch, meaning actually they can get that done on January 11th because we restarted on the 2nd, that would grandfather you into President's Club even if you have not yet earned a green shirt. After the 11th, only sprint winners and green shirt qualifiers will be admitted to President's Club. So it will be easier to get into President's Club by becoming a QA before the 11th than it will if you wait till after the 11th. So you want to get a hold of everybody, even the ones that have not been active in your group, and let them know about this. It's a great reason to touch base with every single person that you've ever had come into your team. All the base shop QAs, base shop is your vice president group. All the base shop QAs count toward the qualification. If you're not yet a vice president, that's everybody in your team. If you are a vice president and have downline vice president generations, then only 1/3 of your qualification can come from any one leg. So what's a leg? A leg is, for example, I sponsor Milton Lawrence, who's a vice president. He sponsors Aaron Klink, who's a vice president. She sponsors Jeff Battles, who's a vice president. All those VPs are in one leg for me because there's one person that I sponsored that led to all that. So only 1/3 of the qualification can come per leg. And then submitted commissionable premium does not have to be from those new QAs. You do have to have, the new QA requirement, but the submitted commissionable premiums from your entire group, subject to 1/3 coming from any qualifying VP leg, or 1/3 of your qualification coming from any VP leg.
As soon as this call is over, I'll run over to Home Depot and I'll get 4 more traps over the.
Hayden, we're hearing you. Put your phone on mute.
So it puts its nose in a trap to get the peanut butter, and it's.
Hello, Hayden. Hayden, we're if you could put your phone in mute, please.
It's good to know he likes peanut butter. I do too. So here's your action steps, guys. This is the important part. Take good notes here. Between now and January 10th, if you're not a qualified associate, take care of that before January 10th so you can be in President's Club. Touch base with everyone in your team to see if they're up for the game this year. If they are, have them watch the recording of our January 1st webinar announcing all this stuff like as soon as possible. That's on the blog, on the January 1st post on the blog. Number 3 is identify those, as you talk to them, identify those who are committed to winning the Sprint Award by January 11th. Because remember, everybody's clock restarted on the 2nd, so if they get those 5 things done by the 11th, they win the Sprint Award. Doesn't matter when they started. We're giving everybody a fresh start dated January 2nd. So the clock is ticking. Number 4, create a daily action plan with them and do a daily accountability and support call with the ones who are making the run for it, because they're probably not up to speed in everything we have going on. So you as the leader, even if you're brand new, you can be the leader. You need to be just touching base with them to help them stay on track and get their questions answered and move them forward on their daily action plan. But have that plan in writing of what they're going to do every day. Number 5 is take care of anybody who's not committed to winning the Sprint Award by January 11th. Take care of them after January 11th. Focus on those who are ready to run hard right now. So that's for the next week, guys. That's your action steps for the next week. But between now and February 28th, you have an opportunity to move up in President's Club and have a shirt of a nice color at the national conference. So decide right now. Go to that grid, which I'll put in the Dropbox. It'll be in the Team Building System folder. Go to that President's Club grid. Decide what color your shirt needs to be at the National Convention coming up March 7th and 8th. Create a written plan with your sponsor or mentor to get to that shirt level, and then make that shirt happen. Just decide if it is to be. It's up to me. So guys, this is a pathway to freedom. Freedom is whatever you define it to be, but when you can do what you want to do when you want to do it without looking at the price tag, that's freedom in America. So to become a millionaire, guys, you need to begin to act like one, and more importantly, think like one. You're a leader. Be a leader. And leaders, of course, all going to be at the March Madness Conference on March 7th through 9th, I think it is, in Las Vegas. So be sure to watch your email. We're going to have a lot of information coming out about Team Synergy activities and room block at that conference. And then decide now. Make a decision right now today. What shirt are you going to be wearing at that national convention? And then go to work to make that happen. So guys, the next major event is the annual conference. For those of you who are anywhere near Southern California, I will be doing the President's Club presentation at the open house, the red carpet event at the company this coming Saturday, the 11th. So if you're anywhere near or have candidates anywhere near, that would be a great place to bring them. And whoops. So that takes care of me, Rick. Is there anything else that you want to add before we wrap it up?
Yeah, actually there is, and hang on a second. I'm going to bring back a screen. I want to thank you so much, guys. You know, two ways of learning any business, and that is to learn by experience, and the other is to learn by those who have learned by experience. And Doug has definitely the person you need to follow those instructions. Fastest growing team in the organization, in the entire company. In 1 year, from never having a license to about 1,000 agents, and having a lot of them show up on the leaders board now as the top 10 income earners. But in closing, I want to make sure someone brought up to me that they went to insuranceagentsdream.net. Now, notice every time you miss a letter in any website, it is insurance agent singular dream, and it's .net, not .com. So www.insuranceagentdream.net will have that 3 or 5 minute video that'll explain the new lead and media blitz program with to other agents, and of course the sizzle call number is up there again that you can use. And so with that, I want to thank everybody for joining us. We had an unbelievable attendance on here today, and just about. I appreciate everyone being with us today. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day. Bye-bye now.